Robinson, and I'm the clinical psychologist here at Hill Murray. Some of you might recognize me, a lot of you won't, but my office is down with the guidance counselors. I've been asked to offer some suggestions for coping with the unique challenges that you're all facing coming back to school during a pandemic, because as you know, this is pretty uncharted territory. So to discuss some of these ideas, I'm going to borrow an acronym from another psychologist named Russ Harris to help me outline these ideas. The acronym is appropriately named FACE COVID. So the F in FACE is for focus. This means focus on what's in your control. Everyone has experienced increased worry and confusion in the past several months. You can't go anywhere without hearing news about how many people are sick with COVID or see people with masks on all around. And while it's perfectly normal to be distressed about the pandemic and all the ways that it's changed our lives and affected people we may or may not know, you've probably already figured out that getting sucked in by our worry is usually not very helpful. In fact, the more we focus on what's not in our control, the more hopeless or anxious we're likely to feel. So the single most useful thing anybody can do in any type of crisis is focus on what's in your control. Like wearing a mask, washing your hands frequently, trying to observe social distance, stay home when you feel sick, stay away from grandparents or older folks if you think you've been in risky settings, because what you do here and now can make a difference. At the same time, it's important to recognize what you absolutely can't control, like whether we'll have school dances in the fall, whether school will go online again, or when the virus will eventually die out or a vaccine is found. So to the best of your ability, you want to make peace with accepting which things you control and which you don't. While that sounds easy, it isn't always that straightforward. Do whatever helps you find acceptance, whether it's talking to your parents or a good friend, shooting baskets, drawing, or meditating. The A in FACE COVID stands for acknowledging your thoughts and feelings. A lot of us spend huge amounts of time trying to either ignore or fight off unpleasant thoughts and feelings. When I work with kids in therapy, I spend a lot of time trying to teach them just to kindly acknowledge whatever is showing up inside you. Your thoughts, feelings, emotions, memories, sensations. Just pretend you're a curious scientist, observing what's going on in your inner world without feeling like you have to change it. And then the C in FACE stands for come back into your body. Connect with your body. This might sound strange, but think about how when you're really upset about something, your mind is spinning out of control and tons of interesting things could be happening right in front of you, but you miss them because you're stuck in your head. You can connect to your physical body in a lot of different ways. Maybe slowly push your feet hard into the floor. Press your fingertips together. Slowly stretch your arms or neck. Slowly breathe. The goal here is not to avoid or distract yourself from what's happening in your inner world, but just to make sure that you come back into your physical being. The E in FACE COVID stands for engage. Engage in what you're doing. This is related to coming back into your body. Being engaged or present is the opposite of mindlessly doing something on autopilot, which a lot of us do a lot of the time. I think of autopilot as when you read a page of a book and realize you have no idea what just happened on the page. Being engaged can mean simply drawing your attention to the thing you're doing, whether it's playing catch with your brother or braiding your hair, taking a shower, talking to a friend. Every day, practice just noticing what you're doing for 5 minutes. The better you anchor yourself in the here and now, the more control you have over your actions. Now the C in COVID stands for committed action. Committed action means action that's guided by your values. Actions you take because they're important to you, even if difficult thoughts and feelings come up when you're doing them. This is why it's important to ground yourself so you can go on to do the things that matter. In addition to acting in a way that will lower your risk of getting the coronavirus or spreading it, I also invite you to think about ways to take care of yourself and help other people. These are committed actions too. They can range from checking in with your neighbor if you see him outside, to asking your mom if you can help in the garden, or getting your schoolwork done even when it's the last thing you feel like doing. Committed action can also mean thinking about other activities or interests that you haven't ever tried. Now's a really good time to do that. Maybe you want to try learning to play badminton or chess or windsurfing. Maybe you want to learn how to fix a car or make a cheesecake. The O in COVID stands for opening up. This means opening up to thoughts and feelings that we don't like having. We can't stop them from arising. They're normal. But we can make room for them. Acknowledge they're normal, allow them to be there even if they hurt, and treat yourself kindly. Ask yourself, if someone I loved was going through this experience, feeling what I'm feeling, if I wanted to be kind and caring toward them, how would I treat them? What might I say or do? And then try treating yourself the same way. Remember, self-kindness is essential if you want to cope well with this crisis. The V stands for values. We've all missed out on things that haven't happened because of the pandemic. Spring sports, summer camps, maybe fun vacations. There are always going to be things you don't get to do that you have your heart set on, goals that you can't achieve, problems for which there are no simple solutions. But you can still live your values, even in the face of all those challenges. And instead of thinking of values such as love, respect, humor, patience, courage, as nouns, think of them as verbs. Look for ways to sprinkle these values into your day. The I is for identify resources. That means finding friends, parents, teachers, coaches, or other adults who offer you assistance or support and advice. It's a sign of strength to reach out to others when you need it. If you need a list of resources, you can reach me or the guidance counselors through the Guidance and Counseling Office at Hill Murray. And if you can, offer support to others. I feel like it's also important to remind each of you to try to limit your intake of the news to about 15 minutes a day and make sure that your news comes from credible resources. While this is undoubtedly going to be a weird year in some ways because of the pandemic, it can also be filled with new relationships, learning new skills, having fun, and making memories. And the D in COVID stands for disinfect and distance. And by that I mean socially, but not emotionally. While this is bound to be an unusual school year, it comes with the opportunity for us to be flexible, creative, and extra kind to ourselves and others.